Hey guys and gals, how y'all doing out there today? If you know my channel, then you know I like this knife right here. It's the Kershaw Launch 5. The entire Launch line, they really just are great knives, especially for the price, and I have really no big complaints or anything. Like I said, they're a great value. I guess there's really not too much to say. Well, last year when the Kershaw Launch 7 came out, I was completely hyped for it. A new launch knife that I could add to my collection that I'm sure I'm gonna love because I love all the other ones. Well, it came out, I went to my favorite brick and mortar store, and sadly, it just did not fit my hand. It was just such a letdown. I really can't even describe just how disappointed I was. Well, I'm sitting there, like I said, kind of disappointed I can't take it home, so I decided to look at some of the other launch models that I didn't have at the time. And I came across the Kershaw Launch 3. Why didn't I buy this one way before that? I've had this one since, I think, about July. I regret not buying it sooner. This is a great knife. Let's just go over it and see why I like it here. It doesn't have a lanyard hole. That is one thing I will knock on it. It's not a big thing. You got plenty to grab onto, getting it out of the pocket here. So it's not a big problem, like I said, but I like to have one. It does have the Skyline clip, just like I think most of the other ones. I think they've started using some other clips now, but most of them still have this. Black anodized handle scales, in the T66, or, the aircraft grade aluminum. Pretty standard stuff. I will say this one is very slick. It doesn't have any texturing like the Launch 5 does. It at least has the wing striation pattern type thing. This is very slick, but the nice thing it does have is a nice finger choil here and some very nice jimping up here on the blade. So really, once you grab this thing, you're not going anywhere. So the slickness is it's not much of a problem. I wouldn't want to use this in water or in really cold environments or anything like that. But yeah, no, so like I said, it's fine. Little red bullseye button, just like most of the other launch models. No problem. It opens the knife real nice and easy. A lot of people say they have problems deploying these. That they'll, I've had it where it springs open, hits the back, and bounces forward before the lock can, kind of catch it. I'm telling you guys, if you tune your pivot, like I said, tighten this down a bit, and when you press the button, press the button. Don't sit and gently squeeze the button, because in between this bigger ring here, there's a skinny section and then another bigger ring. It's got to catch on the bigger ring when it opens, and that's what keeps it open. That's what locks it open. So when you press the button, press the button. That is my advice to launch owners that are having problems with the knife not deploying properly. It is CPM 154. It is a 3.375 inch blade. Realistically, it's very similar to Kershaw Blur length. For that dimension, for the length dimension. I'll pull out one of those later on for the size comparison. It is DLC coated. I believe they do make a S35VN version of this knife that is non-coated, which would be kind of cool to have, I can't lie. Is still 100% American made. That's one of the big things I like about the Launch line. Good value, still made in America, you're still keeping jobs in the US. That's a good thing to me. I will say, out of all the launch knives that I have had, this is the one, it's definitely thickest behind the edge. And that's due to the fact, if you look in the light here, you can see the, bump in the camera. I'm using a tripod now, so this is kind of different for me. You can actually see the flats here, and then there's a swedge cut out up here. Like I said, with that flat being so low, and then they have to do such a steep angle to make up to it, it really makes it kind of thick behind the edge. It's not bad. I've used this for cardboard cutting, food prep, how many other things. It's never been a problem, but it's definitely not the sliciest of all the launch models, which is okay. Not every knife has to be just an absolute slicing beast. It has a good solid tip. Let me put my hand here so you can actually see it. A good solid tip. I'm not worried about breaking it off, really. It's good enough for some detailed work, but it's not overly fragile. And honestly, that's the balance that I like to have. I like to have something that's kind of right in the middle. I do wish it had a sharpening choil, but this isn't too bad. It sharpened out to a nice angle. I was able to match it the first time just absolutely perfectly, so no complaints. Didn't have to take too much off. Really a great addition to the launch models. What am I saying addition? This is one of the original ones that they released. I know when they first came out, it was the 1, 2, and 3 that they released at the same time. Then the 4 came out, the little tiny little one. Then the 5, which you guys know I already love. Yeah, no, and then we're on 6 and 7 now. 8 should hopefully be coming out this year. Yeah, I'm excited for that again. I will admit I am excited. I let myself get excited. I just hope they don't let me down. Alright, we'll do some quick size comparisons, then we'll get out of here. As always, the Benchmade Griptilian. These are pretty damn similar in size. The Launch is going to be significantly thinner, though, just because the Benchmade Griptilian is a chunk. Yeah, no, I love this knife, but it is chunky. Then the Kershaw Blur. This is actually my fiance's Kershaw Blur. She picked this out. I love her. Like I said, for lengthwise and handle length, it really is very close. Thickness is probably also pretty close too, now that I think about it. Yeah, it's actually pretty close. So if you're trying to get a rough estimate of the size of this thing, if you have a Kershaw Blur, they're pretty close. It is definitely a completely different feeling handle. This is the track tech on it and has, you know, the nice curves to it. This is very, very comfortable. I would say probably more comfortable than this, just because this is kind of a very utilitarian shape. But I will say it does work very well still. And I'm going to bring this one out. It's not an auto, but it is an aluminum handle. The Benchmade, or no, not Benchmade, the Buck 830 Marksman. This is, I call this, or, you know, I tell people, if you want an auto, but you can't have an auto because of your state laws, buy this one. It's just as fast and just as easy to, you know, play with. It's honestly easier to fidget with than an auto, or at least the push-button autos. There we go. Like I said, 830 Marksman. Love this one. It's going to have a longer handle and a longer blade. Sorry, get my thumb out of the way. This is an actual 3.5-inch blade. This is, like I said, 3.375. So not a huge difference, but like I said, it's enough. Flat out, for 89-ish bucks, I think this is a good deal, especially if you love the Launch line and you want to collect them. Like I said, you're keeping jobs in the U.S., plus you're getting a really, really nice knife for the price. At 89 bucks, I would have no problem buying one of these again. Alright, guys. If you could, please like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good YouTube stuff. And like I said, I'm trying to make sure I keep up with my videos here. So stay tuned and take care, guys. Bye.